Welcome to the SLUSH podcast, the only place on the internet where we cover toddler toys to movie reviews and all of the spoilers in between.
Welcome back to another episode of SLUSH Podcast. You got John here. He's
Yo.
back, baby. He's back. Wood paneling. I love it.
I know, right?
And me, Matt, hanging out in my goddamn basement. Today we're going to talk about Ghostbusters 2, because right now we've covered Ghostbusters 1, Afterlife,
Yep.
Frozen
Yep.
Empire. Haven't done the reboot yet. We'll get Cora to host that one.
Yeah, I'll do that one with Cora. That's fine.
Yeah, that
Hold
would
on,
be hilarious.
I have to check. I have to wear pants for this, right?
No.
Okay, cool.
I mean, I'm in trouble then. But yeah, I mean, so Ghostbusters 2. I mean, before we dive into the movie itself, when did you did you see in the theater? What was your first viewing like for this?
What my first viewing was actually in the theater. It was like I want to say it was my first movie that I ever saw in theaters.
Really?
Yeah.
It was definitely my first movie, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. My family was like my grandparents would take all the grandkids at some point to movies, but I remember at that point my cousins were just too young to go, and I think I was the only one that went.
I think my mom took me because it came out in like May or June, right?
Yep, it was a summer movie, even though it was set over the winter.
Oh, that's so weird that they did that.
Yep.
Yeah, back in '89, back in the
Well,
day.
yep. When
I
when when it
Yeah.
was crazy, but not as crazy as now.
No, surprisingly, somehow not as crazy, which is almost unbelievable.
Yep.
But yeah, I remember my parents woke me up. I think it was at like 8:30 or 9 at night, like past my bedtime, to show me the trailer that was on like Entertainment Tonight,
Oh yeah.
because that's how we saw that shit back in the day, premiering. And I just couldn't believe it. I was so over the moon excited to see Ghostbusters 2.
Well, remember '89 was also the year that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out in theaters, so it was like a big summer movie year for us.
I think that was 1990, wasn't it? It was shortly after that, I'm pretty
It
sure.
was. I'll Google it later. Either way, it was like
It
those
was
were like the two
close.
big movies. Yeah.
Yeah, because that was the second movie I ever saw in the theater, so
Yeah.
it was a great time to be a kid back then. Holy shit.
Right.
We were
Just
spoiled.
they were making movies left, right, and center for us, and you know,
I know, and they were so cool.
even if they were bad,
Even if they were bad, well, let's throw Super Mario Brothers the movie in there. It was a fucking mess.
it was a
Um,
mess, but it was a great movie to watch.
right?
Still is. I appreciate it as a kid.
I appreciate it a lot now because it's so weird. Like, there's no way they would make something like that now. Nintendo would be
Oh,
like, hell no. Uh, but yeah, I mean, Ghostbusters 2, obviously, I mean, it seems like people the quote unquote movie critic professionals wouldn't consider it as good or like whatever, but I don't know what, like when I was a kid, I never questioned that. I always loved Ghostbusters 2. I still do.
well, yeah, exactly. I mean, I think Siskel and Ebert were like mixed. One was thumbs up, one was thumbs down. But like, people care too much about the movie ratings and the Rotten Tomato uh, score and all that stuff. Like, if it's a good movie, it's a good movie to you,
Yeah, fuck them. I don't know.
right?
I feel like I don't know. It's really tragic that people have based so much on that scoring system now. I can't believe that Rotten Tomatoes is so quote unquote again reputable. Like I
Yeah.
would never consider it reputable. Like I don't give a shit about Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, it's what is it? I can't remember the name of the movie. It has like it's like 1% on Rotten Tomatoes, but it's like critically acclaimed.
Really?
Yeah, but then you got movies like Avengers Endgame, where it doesn't have a great Rotten Tomatoes score, but everyone says it's the best movie ever.
So weird. I don't
Yeah,
know, man. Even when you look at the box office numbers, it's like Avatar is somehow number one, which I find really hard to believe. I don't
they
know.
just
I don't
keep
know.
releasing that. Like, what the hell?
I don't know. Titanic I can get, because it's fucking Titanic, but whatever. Um, so yeah, Ghostbusters 2, we were both kids. First movie we saw in the theaters back in
Yep.
'89. Um, I don't know about you, but like For me, overall, what I love the most about Ghostbusters 2
Mhm.
is, well, the fact that it starts off saying it's like 5 years later, right? Which is weird because as you're a kid, you're like when you're a kid, you're like, "Oh, it's 5 years." Like it's, but as an adult, I'm like, "Man, so much shit can change in 5 years." And I
Well,
was
and
always
then
shocked that they were like washed up in only 5 years.
and that's crazy because you're right. Five stuff can change a lot in 5 years. Like nowadays, you see everything change so quickly because everything's so spread so easily. But like back in the day, you didn't see it. It just would have changed.
Yeah, like I also it's weird. I don't know about you, but whenever I watched it on VHS, my
Mhm.
Ghostbusters 2 copy was always like letterbox. It was always widescreen. I never
Mhm.
had a full screen. So I always thought that was weird watching Ghostbusters 1 on VHS and then going to 2 and it was like so wide and it was so cool because you always knew which one you were watching. I mean, obviously you would know it's Ghostbusters 2, but the VHS, I thought it was a weird choice that they always made it widescreen because that was kind of rare back then.
So I'm not gonna lie. I never owned a VHS copy.
Whoa, really?
I had a VHS copy, but not one that I bought. One that we recorded off the television, and so
Oh,
mine was the censored Like my first one was the censored version, and or yeah, Ghostbusters 1 was censored, and Ghostbusters 2 was family friendly, so nothing had to be changed.
that's hilarious. I've
Yep.
never I've never even seen the TV version. Like, what do they censor in it? I guess
They
no
didn't like
swearing.
well in the first movie they just censor out the word shit. That's it.
That's so funny.
Yep. But yeah, they didn't censor anything in the second one because there's nothing to censor.
That's so weird. I'll have to I'll have to watch the censored versions. I'm
Yeah.
kind of interested. I remember on like the Superstation they would do a pan scan version of Ghostbusters 1, and it was always
Mhm.
so jarring, especially the elevator scene because it would like kind of like pan left to right. It was really weird. Um
Yeah.
but that
It
always
was
stood out to me, I think.
it was Screen X before Screen X was a thing.
Yeah. So do you think as a kid it did it meet your expectations? Like,
Well, seeing as how I didn't have anything to really compare it to in the way of a theater experience, and I was just happy there was Ghostbusters in front of me. So
that's fair.
I didn't really care. As an adult now, I can sit back and appreciate what the movie is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I feel the same way. As a kid, I was just completely jazzed to see more
yeah.
Ghostbusters. Like, never once did I question it. I didn't even know people didn't like love it until I'm not even joking you, like 30 years old. I had no idea. I just didn't really ever look into it until people were like, "Oh yeah, Ghostbusters 2, it's just not as good as 1." But
I, I think our experience with movies is when the 80s and early 90s rolled around, they were churning out so many movies. And I think they were only doing it for one reason:
Moonies.
the toys.
Oh, the toys. Yeah, you're
The
not
toys.
wrong.
So, that's probably why we got a Ghostbusters movie so easily because they went to everyone and said, "Hey, if you do this, we're gonna make lots of money,
And you know
lots
what?
of money."
They probably did,
Oh yeah.
I thought it was kind of funny that like as an adult looking back on it, like I honestly I like it more and more every time I see it because
Mhm.
originally I was kind of like, oh, the score is so different. Like I love the music of Ghostbusters, obviously, of course. It's
Yeah.
so unique. But I also have learned to appreciate the score for the second one because it is so different. Like I know that for Afterlife, they went back to the like kind of original Elmer Bernstein kind of vibes, which is
Yeah.
cool. Like I think it's great for Afterlife, but I think it's what makes like Ghostbusters 2 so unique is it really is different and it's like a full on continuation, which is kind of nice. Like they didn't backtrack a lot, which was kind
Mhm.
of cool. What do you think?
I think like with the score, I think that because a lot of it was very up. There wasn't a whole lot of darkness to it.
Mm.
I
Yeah, you're
think
right.
they were building because that was we were at the end of like the synthesizer bubblegum pop time of the 90s or the 80s and going into the 90s. So like they're getting into a lot more different styles of music, and I
Mm.
think they try to incorporate some of that. So
Yeah, I think you're right. It's definitely a lot bouncier than the first
yeah.
because the first one is super spooky, like paranormal. This one had a lot more family vibe with the baby. and Dana
Yeah.
and like
And
Bill Murray
and
getting
more
back together.
yeah, and more hero music. Like whenever the
Yeah.
Ghostbusters come onto the scene, it's like very uplifting, like, big music.
Yeah, even when they're like, we need to have the mood slime charge positive, it was really like a lot more geared towards positive, like
Yeah,
literally positive vibes.
yeah,
It sounds crazy. Like, I wonder when they pitched it, they're like, we're going to have mood slime and you got to be in a good mood to positively charge it because the bad slime's going to make people pissed off in New York.
yeah,
It sounds whack.
yeah.
Um, and I think that's where a lot of adults, like, I think people who are, I mean, in my opinion, I think people who are like around 10 years older than us, when they saw it, I think that it was just too little kitty for them, I guess.
Well, uh, like I said, that movie was made to make money and sell toys and tie into the cartoon.
Yeah, and I think that we were that audience. Like it was
Oh,
completely geared towards us at that point. So,
definitely. I
and it
mean,
worked.
all the movies that come out in that period were just money making machines for toys. And then eventually they figured it out that eventually they're just like, okay, we need to make as much in a movie that we can get in there to make toys.
Yep, it's true. Even the Ecto 1A toy. I remember like
Yeah,
as a kid, I was always like, man, I've never had the Ecto 1A. I've always had Ecto 1. And as an adult, I was like, it's the same goddamn toy. They just put different stickers on it. So
exactly.
that was a really demystifying as an adult, I've got to
Yeah.
tell you. But now I have it and it's in a glass cabinet. So,
Well, it's like when you go back and you look at the re-release stuff of all the toys that we had back in that period. It's like what all they did was put pink slime stickers on everything
I
between the two
know.
movies.
But you
What?
know what's fucked? I love it. Like, even the logo for Ghostbusters 2, like, some people come into my work and they're like, oh, it's so lame, the peace sign and all that. And I'm like, yeah, but when I was a kid, I was so like, give me that. Like, I
Yeah,
painted, my mom painted it on my wall. I had a huge Ghostbusters 2 logo,
I,
like,
I had a foam one of the same thing, and it's like yes, it's always up
cool.
there.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
I don't know. There's something really special about Ghostbusters 2. Whenever you see the logo, you're like, fuck yeah. I don't know. I'm just into it, I guess.
I, I
We're
think
into
like
it.
yeah, I think OG Ghostbuster fans they see it as like it was our first real experience because we were new when Ghostbusters was out. Like we were brand new, and then we were like 6 and 7 when the Ghostbusters 2 came out. And we were at the proper age to start going to the theaters. So like, okay, this is our first experience that stuck with us.
Yeah, I can't even remember how I saw one. It must have been on TV or something, or we rented a VCR. I think that that's what happened.
Yeah,
But I have no memory of how I saw Ghostbusters 1 at all. It just kind of just exists in my mind, like Back to the Future. Like, I don't know when it happened, but it's
yeah.
just became part of my brain. Um, what do you think of like the characters? Who's your favorite character in Ghostbusters 2?
Seeing as how none of them have it's funny because I think we talked about this in the past. Ghostbusters 1 has zero character development in the main characters.
Yeah, they're just kind of you're in the world existing with them basically.
Exactly. The only person who has any kind of development in Ghostbusters 2 is Peter Venkman and Louis Tully, and that's it.
Yeah, fuck Lewis is
So
funny.
right, so I think like back then I identify with Louis because it's like okay, wait, he gets to be on the team. Oh, maybe I can be too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Right.
So I
So
have the action figure of that on my wall actually, with his little earmuffs on. So
yeah,
so hilarious.
yeah.
I always was shocked that like Janine got with Lewis instead of Egon in the sequel. Like I was like, what? I can't remember if they did that on the cartoon ever. I think it was always
They
Egon,
did.
right? They
No,
did?
no, they did. There was a couple episodes where I think it was like Janine's birthday where Louis was like they were dating, but he was like the puppy boyfriend. Like he just followed her around everywhere.
Oh my god, I didn't even know Lewis was ever on the real Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah, he had like 3 or 4 episodes he was in.
Oh my god, I gotta rewatch these someday. That would be
Yes, you
fun.
do. Watch him with Bennett.
That's another side series in the making.
Yeah, but yeah, and Peter, the only real development he had was going from a bachelor to back with Dana.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I don't know if there was character development there, but he showed a little bit of heart for the kid and the mom. So
I always just loved Egon because he had the weirdest lines. I
mhm,
don't know why. He's always been my favorite in both the Ghostbusters
mhm.
movies. That's why
Eh,
it's so crazy that Afterlife is all about his kids. So
yeah.
weird. Or kid.
Well, and it's funny because my favorite character's always been Winston, but Winston, they have zero like it's not that he has development, it's just he's become the central figure now in the new movies, but they don't explain how.
I know. They're like, he got rich, you know?
Yeah.
He's
He got
Tony
rich.
Stark.
Yeah,
Winston,
exactly.
when I was a kid, the fact that he shaved his mustache, I didn't even think it was the same actor. He looked so
I
different.
know, right?
Couldn't believe it. As an
Yep.
adult, finding out that that was the same actor, I was shocked. And even today, man, when you see him at Comic Cons and stuff, that guy is ripped for like a
Oh
senior
yeah.
citizen. Like he's in very tip top shape to continue the Ghostbusters franchise.
Well, it's like when you see them in Afterlife, and you can tell that Aykroyd's wearing like Spanx to keep everything in, and
Yeah.
Ernie's over there, buffed up, holding the proton pack.
Yeah, he like has no issue at all with
No,
all that. It's crazy how like yeah, Dan Aykroyd is just he aged so fast. I mean, I know everybody has, but yeah, Ernie Hudson is just a special guy kind of guy, I guess.
yeah,
Um,
like if he didn't have that little bit of gray and a little couple of wrinkles here, he'd probably look exactly the same.
I know, it's unbelievable. It's
Yeah,
unbelievable. But yeah, when I was a kid, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, it's the same guy. What do you think the scariest scene in Ghostbusters 2 is, in your
in,
opinion?
in, in the tunnel.
Okay, yes, thank you.
That's the
Terrifying.
only like I remember them saying that Ghostbusters, the original movie, was a horror movie, and I'm like, where? Where is it a horror movie? And then Ghostbusters 2, the one that's geared to kids, you have the scene with a bunch of heads on spikes.
Yeah, that was like some like, Nightmare on Elm Street kind of shit. Like that
Yep.
was insane that that even made it in the movie. Yeah, that always
Yeah.
freaked me out. Great scene though. Fucking
Oh,
ghost train.
absolutely.
Uh,
And like the way that they did it was perfect because there was nothing. Like there was no sound, there was no score until the first like head showed up, and then it's like, oh, that's scary as all fuck.
Even the voiceover where it's like Winston. I remember it when I was a kid, like obviously loving Ghostbusters, super stoked. But I remember always getting a chill at that part because you're
Yeah.
like, your mind plays tricks on you when you're alone in the dark after that as a kid. Ooh.
I wish they would release it in theaters so we could see it again because that is a special way to see it.
I wish. I don't know why they never have re-released Ghostbusters. I've seen like the Ghostbusters 1 re-released occasionally, but
Mhm.
never 2. I've never ever seen them do that.
I think it's because Ghostbusters 1 falls under the classic category for a lot of theaters, so they can show that and they know they'll get a full house.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters 2 would be like a total crapshoot.
Yeah, it's too bad. Even when they did Frozen Empire, I know there were like subtle, you know, hints at Ghostbusters 2, but like, they don't ever show like the logo or anything in its full glory, which is too bad, you know?
Well, I mean, like that it is a crying shame. I mean, Ghostbusters 2 at one point had one enduring thing about it, and that was the sign was still at in the New York firehouse. It was in the house. They never hung it up, but they always had it on the wall, and then it broke, and then I think like 10,000 Ghostbuster fans donated a bunch of money to actually put a sign on the building.
Dude, that sign, I can't even believe that took that long to put up out there. It should
Right?
have
I
always
mean,
been there.
if I had been like had money and if I had been in charge of New York Fire Department, I'd been like, why don't we have a sign up there? This is the most famous firehouse in the world.
Honestly, like it's obscene. And the one that they have out there right now is perfect. Like it looks
Yeah,
amazing. It looks like it's
yeah,
always been there.
yeah.
Um, I feel like I've never really thought that the movie looks too different the way that it's shot for some reason. Like I know that the first one is really it's grainier and like older
Mm,
and it kind
mm.
of makes it seem almost more realistic. Um, but I guess the second one to me always just looked really polished. It's like the difference between watching Star Wars, like A New
Mm.
Hope, and then The Empire Strikes Back. It's like they're both Star Wars, but the sequel is just more polished looking. What do you think?
I think like they shot that one so it was a lot brighter. Like there, did
Yeah.
you notice? Like other than the climax, there wasn't a whole lot of night scenes.
It's pretty clean. Like the whole
Yeah,
thing is like lit. Like it looks like
yeah,
a movie for sure.
yeah.
Whereas the
Like
first one's almost like an SNL skit from like the early
ex-
80s.
exactly. Like the comparisons of like the first one and the second one. So when they first bust Slimer in the first one, it takes place in a darkened like ballroom. But when they beat the Scoleri brothers in the second one, it's super bright, so you can see everything.
It's true. It's like in the middle of the day. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Um
So that was always my. I'm like, wow, this is a lot brighter. Like I can see everything. And then the dark scenes were literally put there to for mood.
yeah, it's funny because it kind of helps like the themes of the movie a little bit because in the first one where they're just like leaving university and starting up, it kind of seems like really run and gun. But in the
Yeah.
second one where they're like trying to get their lives back on track, it's so much more like adult feeling. And now that
Hmm.
I'm older watching it, like it's so much more relatable because you're like, oh yeah, like they have to get day to day jobs, and like Peter's this host of a show, and Egon's doing science stuff, and I love that Ray's a Cult, his little store, is still happening like this many
Yeah.
Ghostbuster sequels later because it makes so much sense, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it really does. I mean, yeah, they would go and get normal jobs, and like, uh, I think they all. I think the three not main characters, but like Egon, Ray, and Winston. I feel like Ghostbusters was 100% for them, and Peter was still doing his TV show at the
Yeah,
same time.
yeah. I feel like I don't know. It's so funny because even in real life, how Bill Murray kind of separated himself away from Ghostbusters for a while. I
Hmm.
feel like Peter would have totally done that anyways in the continuity of the Ghostbusters films. Because he never really is kind of. He likes being like a hot shot in the spotlight, but he's never like into it like Ray and Winston and Egon are, you know?
Well, maybe the dean in the first movie was right. He sees science as a hustle.
Yeah, totally.
You know,
Um,
the
fucking
thing that
okay.
always bothered me is why does nobody believe them? Like in the second movie, I mean, New York, New York has what 8 million people in it,
I think I don't know. You're probably right.
and there was 2,000 people at least in front of the building when the giant marshmallow walked up, you know, and the film crew. And how does no one believe them? Like there's a record of it. Why does no one believe them?
Honestly, even when they do Ghostbusters Afterlife and like Gruberman has to show them the YouTube videos and he's like, "You guys don't know about this?" It kind of reminds me of like kids growing up in like a very post 9/11 world where like even though
Yeah,
you have a bunch of footage of it, it's almost like they just the, people are so skeptical of what they're seeing now on the news
yeah.
and in like old videos, they almost just can't seem to know what to believe anymore. Like it's
Well,
incredible.
well, it's like Pearl Harbor back in '42. Everybody just like, oh shit, we got attacked. We got to go. No one saw pictures. There was no video. They're just like Pearl Harbor got attacked, and they went to war like less than a month later. It's the same thing. Like we don't see if unless we see it with our own eyes, we don't believe it now.
I know, and even then, it's like I don't know. People are. I mean, it's good to be skeptical, but like, holy shit, like, I don't
But
know.
it's 100 foot tall marshmallow man in a
I
giant explosion
know.
on top of a building.
Inside job. Um, uh, as far as like a rewatchability for all the Ghostbusters movies, I mean, obviously the first one's always going to be like the wishing well that they go back to,
Yeah,
but I think that I don't know, maybe it's because I always was left wanting more Ghostbusters. I feel like I saw Ghostbusters 2 more than Ghostbusters 1 as a kid, in all honesty.
I think you're right. I think I watched that one a little bit more. I mean, not for the like maybe because I was looking for something extra that didn't pop out at me the first time.
Yeah, I always just was like so sad every time the movie ended.
Hmm.
And they show the like the Statue of Liberty back there and they have like the banner and they're thanking the Ghostbusters. And I was always like imagining what they did the next day. Like what were their
Yeah,
next adventures? No idea. I don't think any of us had any clue that there wouldn't be a Ghostbusters movie again for like how long is that? Like 30 years or something?
yeah, I bet that.
That's incredible.
Now, that being said, we do have a lot to show for some of the super fans who actually took the time to make their own.
Go on.
You don't know?
I don't
Oh,
know.
okay, okay. So there was a guy, I think his last name is Braxton, and he actually made a 15-minute Freddy versus the Ghostbusters fan film.
I think I've heard of this.
I think I've got it on a disc here somewhere. It's like really, it's janky as all hell.
Dude, what year was
Like
that?
oh god, it had to be early 2000s,
Oh, that's a long
right?
ass time ago.
I know, right? But it was so popular. It ended up having, because it was in the days of early internet, so it was fairly easy to get and watch. But it got so many views, he eventually managed to get enough money together to do a 90-minute sequel to it called
What?
Return of the Ghostbusters.
That is wow.
Yeah, it all takes place in Denver, so it has some continuity with with the actual Ghostbusters, but
That's
not a
so
lot.
funny.
Yeah. And then there's other ones that were done around the world, like there's Italian Ghostbusters, and I can't think of some of the other ones, but fan film just came out of nowhere for the longest time. So some of us that actually were watching, and other ones who were making other movies, that would be you. Um, some people got to see them and some people didn't. So
I never thought like until I met you guys that you could even make props like that at
mhm.
home. And then when I saw all the things that you guys made, I was like, wow, like
Oh
that's a
man,
legit looking proton pack and like
but
jump
like,
flight suit.
some of the stuff we made, I mean, it was great. But some of the stuff these guys made, they made it the old way, the way that they made the original ones. So
Yeah,
these guys are going around shooting in 50-pound packs. Like,
no, it's insane, dude. I hope to make another proton pack sometime soon like that. Um, side note, did you see that neutrino one is like $50 at Ollie's?
yeah, but when you account for the exchange
Shipping.
rate and everything and the
Yeah.
shipping, I did the math at work and I was like, you know what? I could have them sent here. I could buy like 5 of them, but I'm gonna end up spending the same amount of money I would have bought them here for, and I've already got one.
Yeah,
So
I suppose you're right. I wish we had that stuff when I was a kid. God damn. I mean, I have all my proton packs. I got like 4 of them for the real Ghostbusters here.
yeah,
Bennett is definitely going to be wearing one at HellCon. So,
good. Wait, are you going? Are you going to
yeah,
Alcon?
we're going to go this year.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. It's happening. It's been too long.
It has been too long. You guys need to go.
I
The family
know.
that plus together.
Well, he was a little Stay Puff last year, or a mini
That is
puff,
true.
which was adorable.
I'm going to YCon this year too.
Oh, really?
Well, I went last year and they liked what I did so much. Because I went with Ethan. They
Oh,
invited me
yeah.
back, so I'm putting something all new together for them.
Did Ethan make a proton pack yet, or did he buy one?
He bought one, but he had a pretty fairly good one that he had assembled.
Does he just rock both of them now, or did he retire the original prop that he
He
made?
retired the original and salvaged parts.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Even my pack, the original one, that Lucille, I retired her because she's done her part.
It'd be so fun someday just to pull it out and like kind of put some tape on it and put it back together. And because mine's in a glass cabinet, could take it out, but it's so goddamn heavy. Like, holy
Yeah,
shit. Um, I've never ever seen in real life somebody make one of the slime blow. I know that people have made the slime blower packs from Ghostbusters 2, but have you seen one in real life ever?
I have not seen one in real life. The closest I've ever seen was, do you remember that Ghostbusters thing they did at the Sony lot? Like, Christ,
Oh,
probably,
the big event thing where the
yeah,
tickets.
like
Yeah.
for like the 30th anniversary,
Yeah.
and they had like $2,000 tickets.
Yeah, that's
Um,
insane.
a friend of mine actually, he called me via it was in the early days of video calling, so he used Skype, and he's like, "Dude, you have got to check out this slime blower this guy has." So that's the closest I've ever been. I know they exist. I know someone built one, but he actually had it designed to shoot bubbles,
Whoa. See, that's the way to go.
not like bubbles, but like foam bubbles.
Cool.
So
I
it
would
was pretty
love to
cool.
have that. It looks real heavy though. Like, holy
I
shit.
I took the time to figure out how to build one to shoot slime. Um, but it would be heavy because you need like 20 gallons of fluid, and then you have to carry nitrogen tanks and just
And you have to positively charge all of it.
Oh
or
man,
not.
there is not enough positive energy in the whole world right now.
I know, honestly, all those little like themes and stuff from these old movies,
Mhm.
they're so relevant to today and like it seems kind of hokey and like corny looking back, but like we kind of needed that and we need it
Yeah.
now too.
But do you know what the funny part is? And I was thinking about this the other day. Ghostbusters 2 is kind of sort of marred by the political whim of today.
Mm,
Because we said like Ghostbusters 2 is all about positive energy
yeah.
and being good to everyone else. But then you go to the Bobby Brown music video from Ghostbusters 2 and guess who's in it?
Who?
Donald Trump.
Are you shitting me? I didn't
I
know
swear to
that.
God. Because they projected Bobby Brown on the side of his building, and I
Oh
guess that was
my
part of the
God.
agreement that he got to be in the music video. So like I'm sitting there like, oh, one of my favorite movies as a kid is marred by an idiot.
Yeah, he's in a ton of stuff. He's in Seinfeld and like
Yep.
it's weird. I don't even know why. Like I guess nobody could have guessed he would be who he would be. God damn
I
it.
don't know. Like he's in Home Alone.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
Fre-
that's right.
I I was watching Pluto TV the other day, and it was Fresh Prince, and he was on Fresh Prince.
What?
Yeah,
Why?
he wanted to buy their house, and it turns out he wanted the house next door
How did he get into all these things? It's
because
ridiculous.
he had this cult of personality that everybody like for some reason loved.
So I
And
am waiting for him to like take his wrath out on the film industry eventually. I'm just waiting for it to happen.
well, you heard that he like totally bashed the Canadian film industry once.
No, what did he
Um,
say?
well, okay, so if they show Home Alone 2 on CTV, it's too long to show in the 2 hour block that they have. So they cut out some like non-important scenes, and one of the scenes they cut out was his scene in
Oh
Home
my
Alone 2.
God. That's
And he's like,
awesome.
the CTV doesn't know what they're talking about. And he just went off and like, oh man, you have such a big ego.
He's like, "CTV or washed up
Yeah,
channel."
basically,
Guy's a
you got
clown.
the hands. I can't do it. But
I've
yeah, so
seen too
that's
many videos.
yeah, that's like the one thing that mars Ghostbusters 2 for me. Like other than that, it's a great movie. But then I watch that music video and I'm like, no, I don't like this.
I'll have to watch it. I've seen, like, clips from the video, but I've never seen the whole thing.
Yeah,
Um, you know what I'm waiting for is, like, someday when they'll have, like, Ghostbusters in space, something crazy like that.
we got that in the TV show.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Those
Yep.
suits were cool.
This. No, they went to space in their regular jumpsuits.
Oh, I'm thinking of when they go in the ecto containment unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it, but when they go to space, they run into a bunch of Star Trek parodies.
I just need that shit in live action. It'll probably
Yeah.
happen eventually.
Uh, we're supposed to get animated movies and live action shows.
They've been
I'm
talking
not.
about these movies, animated things for so long now. It's insane.
I'm just waiting to see what we get first: Ghostbusters animated or the Undergrads movie.
Holy shit. I don't think the Undergrounds movie is gonna come out.
I found out why it's taken so long. It's
Why?
it's just one guy. It's
Not
just
even possible.
yeah. It is like the thing is like it's you know as well as I do how much money it takes to make a movie.
Yeah.
Right? And making an animated movie is even harder. So he's had people like volunteer to help with some stuff, but they got to work their regular jobs too.
I know, like I've seen his like, the video for the Kickstarter thing to start, and it's all legit, and it's cool that it's Pete Williams, and he's like, yeah, I mean, this is my show. I do all the voices. I can do this.
Yeah,
But to know that just one guy is drawing and like animating, that sounds like torture.
yeah,
Like,
but
uh,
you know, uh, he's got a lot to draw on. I don't know what Sony's excuse. He doesn't have a lot to draw on. I don't know what Sony's excuse is.
yeah, I feel like Sony just keep pumping the brakes on Star Wars. Or, sorry, they kind of do that on Star Wars too. With Ghostbusters, because it seems like even with Frozen Empire, I was shocked that it even came out that quickly. To be honest.
I think they just wanted to jump on what they had. Plus, they had to tie into the video game that they kind of had to work on. So
Well, after this, like they're not kids anymore. Like they're gonna be Ghostbusters in university and college. Like there are no
could
more
be that.
kid Ghostbusters after this.
if they go.
if they go.
If they go. I mean, she's already smart and he's a driver, so
It would be funny though. I mean, I don't know. The only character that kind of gets roped into it, well, two of them, which is weird, is Lucky and Podcast, because they almost don't even make sense to be in that movie. But
I know, right? Like, oh, we're doing summer internships, but Podcast is lying to his parents.
I know. And then Lucky just shows up. She's like, "Oh, hey, I'm here," and they're like,
Like,
"Okay."
like her dad's the sheriff, and he's like, yeah, go to New York for the summer without me. It's fine.
See, every time I see Ghostbusters Afterlife, one of my favorite scenes in that movie is when her and Finn Wolfhard are over top of the pit, and she says, and he's like, "Oh, like, you ever gonna leave?" And she's like, "If I don't, like, what does that say about me?" And like, she's such a good actor, and it's such a great delivery,
Yeah,
and you really get a good sense of like the weight of her character. And I was always like, I mean, it's awesome that she's back in Frozen Empire, but I feel like there's a lot of untapped potential for her character.
I think it was a waste to have her in the movie, to be honest. I mean, she did kind of give the preview of what the bad guy could do,
I thought she
but
died. Like, I think
well,
everybody did.
when the trailer came out and they showed her like freezing like to a dead stop, and they had the overlay of Ray's voice of the death freeze and all that stuff, and I'm like, there's no way they're gonna kill one of the kids.
Wouldn't that be awesome though if they did? Like, holy shit, that would have been awesome. I would have been
Yeah,
so. I mean, it would have sucked because it's like you're killing one of the main characters, but I thought for
yeah.
sure maybe Peter was gonna die or something, at least.
I, I'm surprised that Bill Murray didn't make them kill him, because that
I
was his
know.
whole the whole time. Is like, if we're doing a third movie, I have to die in the first reel, and the first reel is what, 15 minutes?
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
really surprised that he was just like having fun in this sequel. Like, it's shocking. He's just got his shades on and he's like,
yeah,
I hid some booze behind this panel. And I don't know, like, he was so nonchalant about it. And,
yeah.
you know,
But it's also, I find that like it goes back to the second movie. The way I see it, they never address the containment unit after the first movie.
that's true.
Like, they never talk about it in the second one.
No, they
They never
don't.
say, "Oh, here's what we do with all the ghosts." So in the third movie, when they say like, or in Frozen Empire, when they're like, "Yeah, it's overfilled," like, wait, that can happen? You can overfill the containment unit? What the hell?
Yeah, it was really neat that you could see behind the wall and see how it got made up. I thought it was really neat that they were making that other facility with all the other containment units. Like, there's so much that they can continue off of. Like, it'll be interesting to see what they do next, because I have no clue what they would do next after this.
I think it's kind of funny how they actually use some of the science that some of us fans have come up with for the containment unit,
Like the laser
because
thing, or
yeah, because the way that some fans had interpreted it was, when they put the trap in, it empties the ghost into a room, which is like an airlock, and then it closes off where the trap is, and opens up another one on a side room and shoots them into there, and that's where they're stuck.
mm.
But it's just a tank in the next one.
Yeah, it's weird thinking like that it's a physical thing.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's just so funny because you don't really know how Egon builds it. It just kind of happens. And
Yeah, it's just like, this containment unit's going to cost us a lot of money. Bam, it's built.
yeah, I feel like when they were making the movie, they're like, "How are we gonna do this? Just put this red metal thing on the wall, and we'll just say it's a containment unit." You know?
It was all about the special effects budget, because they had a thing where you could look inside the containment unit, and they were like, "Oh, it looks really creepy in
Oh,
there," and they got rid of that because it would cost a
oh,
lot of money.
that would have been so cool.
Mhm.
I always loved the containment unit in the cartoon because they were like, "Let's just make it fucking huge," you know?
Yeah, yeah, and
And
not just on the outside. Like, they used British special effects on the inside to make the containment unit gigantic.
yeah, I kind of wish. I mean, it's cool that they kept the original like OG one from Ghostbusters 1, but
Yeah,
because you don't see it in Ghostbusters 2 or Afterlife, they actually could have gotten away with showing it rebuilt in the way that it looks in the cartoon. That would have been
right.
really cool.
Um, yeah, but no, it was just the '80s. We just dumped everything into a spot and didn't worry about it till later.
It makes so much sense, though. It
Yeah.
tracks, right? It completely
Um,
tracks.
okay, so let's talk about what brought us to Ghostbusters 2, because we're at that point where we got to talk about her. I mean, she's there. They're asking for her back.
Yeah.
The statue.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny that I just never thought in a million years that
No, me.
they would ask for the Statue of Liberty back. Like, that can't be good, you know?
Well, I'm Facebook friends with Robin Shelby, the girl who played Slimer in the second movie,
Oh,
and she actually posted a thing the other day that said, "News update: Statue of Liberty was seen walking back to France."
that's wild.
Yeah,
I first
uh,
was like, I wonder, because things seem to be getting so extreme lately. I was like, would they really ever,
maybe. Yeah.
would that, it doesn't seem out of the realm of a crazy at this point, you know?
Well, and you know what? Like the day that they asked for it back, I was actually watching a TV show called The Man in the High Castle.
Oh,
It's where it's like alternate history where the Germans win World War II
oh, that's interesting.
and take over most of North America.
Wow.
Anyway, there's a scene where I guess they finally had enough and they need a new symbol in New York, so they actually blow up the Statue of Liberty. And I'm like, you know
Holy
what?
shit, I've seen a clip of that actually.
Yeah. And I'm like, like I, I don't want to say I could see it, but
I could see it, dude.
I could see it now.
I could see old Trumpy just being like, you know what? We don't even need it. We don't need it. We're gonna build a new one. It's gonna be a me. It's gonna be gold. It's gonna be great. It's like that AI video he released on his Twitter where it's like, I don't know how a president could ever actually release something like that, where they're showing like him as a gold statue on the Gaza Strip. Like that is unbelievable. Like we're reaching unreal like topics becoming reality. Like it's
I,
insane.
I just never thought that my dad would be right that the world would end with World War III, but it would start it by the Americans. I always thought it was going to be the Russians.
Well, they're probably just like, wow, we don't have to do anything. We're just gonna sit back and watch this shit happen, I
Yeah,
guess.
basically. But yeah, so like let's get away from that because that is a dark, dark place we're going to.
We need positive energy to charge this mood slime.
So let's talk about the Statue of Liberty scene. So when you were a kid, did that totally blow you out of the water that they could do that?
When I was a kid, even today, the special effects that they use to do that look so good. I
Yeah.
mean, the fact that they actually built all that shit and they rotoscope it all together with the miniatures and the guy in the suit. I don't know. It just seemed like it made so much sense. You're like, they're gonna positively charge the slime, then they're gonna like plaster it all over the inside. And Ray has a
Yeah.
cigar and he's like, beautiful. It's so
And
awesome.
speaking of which, did you notice that he wasn't smoking a lot at all in the second movie, but that was his one thing. He had a cigar.
Yeah, that's true. I
So
never thought of that
yeah.
actually. Shit,
Yeah.
I never
So
thought of that.
but it was amazing because like when you look at that wide scene of her coming around a corner and she actually physically walks into the intersection and has to turn the whole body to make it.
Dude, even when she stomps on like the cop car, it looks
Yeah.
so good. Um,
Um, the scene with Cheech Marin and the other guy when they're looking out the window like the second time and they're just the look on Cheech Marin's face when he's like, "What? Huh?" Set the second look.
dude, the
I
Titanic arriving freaked me out when I was a kid.
Oh, and it was crazy because you saw the giant gash in now
Yes.
now knowing what we know now, it's like, meh.
I know, it's like, it wasn't that big and it sank.
And look, there's Jack.
Oh my god. No, that always freaked me out. Actually, one monster, the ghost that I always thought was the coolest was the one that like goes through the thing, like the giant.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Through the
Yeah.
arch. Yeah.
That part always freaked me out and I was like, "Oh, I want to see more of that ghost."
No, 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 no. The mink jacket.
Oh, that scared the shit out of me when I was a
Like
kid.
that was practical. Like they like designed it to have the minks pop out and then run away.
It's funny as you're describing all of these shots, I can hear the music over the
Yeah,
montage like
that's
so
that's
clearly.
that's Flip City.
Yeah, Flip City. It's such a
Yeah,
great song.
but going to that scene, did you realize that there is actually a deleted scene featuring someone's name who's in that movie?
No.
So when they show that part, they're standing outside a theater and it's showing something, but it's starring Eugene Levy.
Oh, really?
Eugene Levy was actually in the movie, and they cut his scene out.
I've seen a photo of that, but
Yep.
never watched it. Who does he play in the movie?
He plays Lewis's cousin,
Holy
who works
shit.
he works at the same hospital that the Ghostbusters are in, but he's a dermatologist.
Oh my
And,
god.
and that's how they get out. Is he writes an order to get them out.
Dude, could you imagine? That is ridiculous. Could you imagine? That is very ridiculous. Eugene Levy getting cut out of Ghostbusters 2 sounds insane.
Right? I mean, like, when you think about it, he would kind of fit.
Totally. He is completely in that whole audience.
Yeah.
It's weird
But
because even the Yes Have Some folks were cut out of Frozen Empire. I would have been gutted if I was them.
I don't know.
Gutted.
I don't know. I mean, I've done background in a lot of stuff. I mean, if I'm not in something, that's okay. But
Ghostbusters though, holy shit.
no,
Maybe
I
they'll
know.
be in
I
the next one or something.
maybe. I mean, it's hard to say. But he actually does a scene after with the Ghostbusters where they're standing outside the car, and Lewis has told them he's basically the fifth Ghostbuster. And he's like, I gotta go, but Lewis, you said they'd drive me in the car. I gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta go save the world.
Hmm.
And that's the picture you've seen of him standing there with it like this.
That is
Yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah.
That's so
Uh,
funny. Eugene Levy,
um,
man, he should have done more stuff. He should be in bigger things.
no, I think he's perfect right where he's been because
Schitt's
he
Creek is
didn't. Oh,
great.
yeah. I mean, he's when someone says Canadian actor, they think Eugene Levy. Well, actually, right now everyone's thinking Mike Myers, but
I
that's
know, I was
different.
just gonna say that. Everybody's like, he just kind of
Yeah,
just came back randomly.
yeah. Well, I mean, he knew the right moment, so
I know. I was wondering why they haven't made any Austin Powers or anything in so long. I don't know if you could do that now. Maybe, I guess.
I think Austin Powers is problematic.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of clips and I'm like, wow, that would get
Yeah,
completely ripped apart on Twitter
yeah.
today, like most
Um,
things.
so there is one other thing that you probably don't remember from your first watch of the movie. When they put the Statue of Liberty back,
Hmm.
she had the torch in the wrong hand.
Really?
Yeah. I've been struggling for years to find an original print of the movie. But like she's got the torch in her right hand, holding the book. But when they put her back,
I had no clue.
yeah,
That's so weird. I'll have to look for that.
right. Like I don't know where to find it. I just remember someone was talking about it, and they said that's how they set it up in the first scene because the Ghostbusters would have had to put her back.
Right.
Like
And
climbing back up on the pedestal, there's a good chance they,
cause she blows. Oh yeah, she hits the thing. That's the other thing. The Ghostbusters drop in on like fucking ropes,
yep,
like SWAT team.
yep.
They're in full hero mode in the sequel.
Being someone who's abseiled, that would have been a bitch to do wearing the proton pack
Yeah, or the slime blower. Holy
or the
shit.
slime blower. But also being someone who abseiled, I kind of have an idea that they wouldn't have been able to get out.
Really?
The proton pack, like your body is fairly wide. The gaps in the Statue of Liberty are only this wide.
It all goes back to the Transformers having noses. It just doesn't make sense. They're not
I know,
breathing.
but that's the thing. Like we're watching the movie, and that's I'm
Yeah.
going to suspend my disbelief for that because that was a really cool part.
I also really liked how they dug into the street into the river of slime. The whole thing was really cool.
Yeah,
Like even when Ray's collecting the sample and the tentacle comes out. I don't know, man. There's so many like ideas that are so random in Ghostbusters 2 that are so neat. It's like they did that. It's like they did a comic book sequel and then they just made
yeah.
the comic book into a movie.
So the novel for Ghostbusters 2 that lets you see how they toned the actual film down because back in the day they would write the novel from the shooting script. The shooting script didn't have tentacles; it had skeleton hands reaching up,
Oh man, that would have been really scary.
right? But like I said, they cut a bunch of stuff out because kids.
Nightmare fuel right there. Now I'm gonna have bad
Heck no.
dreams. I don't think I had. Did I have bad dreams about it? I feel like I probably had more bad dreams about Ghostbusters 1 than 2 because I feel like 1 is a lot scarier than 2 if I were to compare them.
Well, I mean, you have the terror dogs jumping out left, right, and center in the first one, and then you just had a bunch of heads pop up in the second one. So
I always wondered, like, what are the terror dogs doing to them when they catch them?
They're
Exactly.
possessing their body.
I know, but I want to see it happen. I want to see what they're gonna do.
Did you notice though that whenever Zool is pictured, she is menacing. She is a destructor herself. Very imposing. Whenever Vin's like Louis Tully's terror dog or Paul Rudd's terror dog, always the comedic situation.
That's true. He does hit his head on a bench or goes through a
Exactly.
bench.
But not just that. Like when Louis, it's at the party. Like he throws his jackets onto Louis or onto the terror dog, and then they chase around and they have a moment.
That's
And
true.
in Afterlife, Paul Rudd finds him in a Walmart
Yeah, that's such a great scene.
and hits him with a thing of Ben and Jerry's. Like,
Oh man, I love Ghostbusters Afterlife. I feel like we're
yeah,
probably gonna do like several episodes on each one of these Ghostbusters things over the years because there's just so much to talk about. Like, even if we dove into special effects or even props or
yeah,
all that stuff, I always found it really like the older I get, the more like sad I find out when like, Dana and Peter aren't together at the beginning and she's like, "Oh, it's when you introduced me as the old ball and chain." It's like, "Wow, Peter,
like
why?" But then he
that.
makes jokes about her husband like, just like leaving her with a baby like as an adult. I'm like, "Wow, like that's actually fucking crazy."
You know what? It bothers me because between the second and the third movie, there's no explanation of are they still together or not. But the video game, which is a sequel to the second one, so to speak, he meets a new girl.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
What the hell? Who's the new
right.
girl?
Her she finds out. Spoiler alert: the game's only been out for 20 years. Um, she finds out she's actually a descendant of Evo Shandor.
No shit.
Yeah. So her name's Alyssa. She works at a museum. You know,
He sleeps above the covers, 4 feet
for
above the covers.
yeah. Well, she did. This is one that didn't get. You know, yeah. She basically didn't get possessed.
They should just do like I don't know. I was gonna say a prequel, but I feel like that's just pointless at this point. I don't know. But
A
yeah,
prequel to what?
like showing all the Evo Shandor and stuff. They do like a little mini series or whatever on like
Oh yeah.
Netflix. It is
Oh
Netflix
yeah.
doing Ghostbusters, isn't it?
It's Netflix with Sony, but yeah.
Interesting.
Evo Shandor. I don't think he got enough praise in that movie to be He was such a defining character, yet he only had what 8 seconds of screen time.
Oh my god, the fact that it's J.K. Simmons getting ripped in half is awesome.
Like and when they interviewed him about it, he's like, yeah, whenever Jason calls me to do something, I just show up and do it because I owe him.
Fair.
So
Dude, he's so good in Whiplash. That guy in J. Jonah Jameson, like,
yeah,
side note, did you see the Avengers thing today? They revealed the cast.
I know, right?
I was like, holy shit, like half of the X-Men are coming back from the year 2000. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, no Hugh Jackman though.
I don't understand that. There must be like a zillion people that they're not talking about. But that's already a zillion people to be in one movie.
I still think they missed out on an opportunity to have Deadpool in the last Avengers movie.
That would have been cool.
Like he could have been a deleted scene where they just show the rubble of the whole battle,
But we're gonna
and he
find out
runs it.
why Thor was crying.
Yeah, and no, he just runs in and he's like, "Okay, guys, the Disney merger's over. We can make this totally happen." He looks around. Oh, what the fuck?
See, that would be really funny. Maybe they will do something like that where they go back in time. Who knows? Who knows what they're gonna do at this point?
Yeah,
I was telling a guy at work, like, oh, they just revealed like Cyclops and like, the original Nightcrawler and they're all back and Rebecca Romaine is coming back. And he's like, ugh, why are they bringing back all these old actors? And I was like, oh, I was really stoked. And he's like, they need something new. And I was like, hmm, I wonder if everybody feels this way. Hmm.
I wonder. I wonder. Rebecca Romaine, Jennifer Lawrence. Who do I want to see in the blue body paint?
I feel like Jennifer Lawrence.
Really?
I don't know. To
Uh,
me, she is Mystique more so. I don't know.
I don't know. I liked her. I liked the Mystique from the original series because she was more dark.
I
You know,
can't really remember. I just know that Wolverine stabs her in the first movie when she's pretending to be the Statue of Liberty, right?
something like that. Yeah,
Something like that. And then
something like that.
I don't know. I don't. I just know that her backstory is more fleshed out in these new movies. I really
Yeah,
do like um Michael Fassbender as Magneto, so I really hope they bring him back too eventually. But we're getting completely off track for Ghostbusters 2
yeah.
at this
We're into a
point.
total different IP now.
When do you think they're gonna make another one? Like a movie?
I don't know. I'd like to say like in another year or so.
They should
Um,
soon.
well, I mean that's the thing with the guys getting older and them actually having some cast that are young enough they could pick up everything and keep going. Um, especially she doesn't get enough credit. Carrie Coon
Hmm.
playing Callie. I mean, just perfect, like a
Yeah,
perfect mom character for a Ghostbuster.
she's
But
fantastic.
yeah, but like the having Paul Rudd there and podcast and Lucky and Trevor and Phoebe. I mean, it seems like a good way to go.
Yeah, I really hope Jason Reitman comes back to do another one because I mean, it's cool that Gil, his buddy, did one. I know that he helped write Afterlife and everything, but I think that Jason Reitman is just a really, really good filmmaker, and I think that it seems so right to be in his hands, especially now that his dad is gone. I mean, I get that he didn't probably want to do it because it was so special, the experience doing Afterlife with his dad. But personally, in my own selfish brain thing, I really hope he comes back to do one.
I would love to see it, but like even he said it himself when he went to Cannes. He's like, "This is really not my 4K in movies. I don't usually do special effects movies. I mostly focus on character development, so to
Yeah.
speak."
Fuck, he did such a
So,
good job though.
oh,
Honestly,
I agree.
when I saw that first trailer of well, the second one, not the teaser, when you see the Ecto one like rip around the corner and she's like leaning out with the gunner seat,
Yeah,
I was like, I can't even believe the guy who directed Juno did this. Like this is a huge jump like ahead in technique. It's crazy.
yeah. I mean, like think about where we were back when Juno came out. I mean, Elliot Page was still a new actor. Um, Michael Cera. I
Yeah.
mean, Jesus, he was new too. Like, where did all these and Jason Reitman had done what 2 movies by that point?
Yeah. I remember being
And,
shocked that his son was directing movies. I didn't know that he was even
but
doing that.
but it wasn't his first directorial credit.
What? Because he did Thank You
Yeah,
for Smoking, right?
no, even before that.
What did he do before that? Up in the Air?
So no,
I can't remember.
so do you remember the movie Evolution that Ivan Reitman directed?
Yeah.
You remember at the end when they had the Pert Plush commercial?
No, I have only seen that movie once, I think, back in the day.
Well, at the end of it, they do a haphazard Pert Plus commercial, to go along with the story. That was Jason Reitman's first directorial outing,
That is goddamn ridiculous.
right? It's crazy. It's like Jason Mewes from Jay and Silent Bob. He's directed like 2 movies now, but his first directorial credit was the scene in Clerks 2 when they
Kissing
um
flies.
kiss some flies,
That's so gross.
right? But that was his directorial, and they were beautifully shot, like perfect.
I love Clerks too. Have we
Yeah.
done a podcast on Clerks 2 yet?
Now we did a podcast on Clerks.
Oh man, I would love to really deep dive into Clerks 2. I love that
Done,
movie.
done.
Maybe I haven't seen the Saturday Night Live movie, but it looked pretty good from what I could see.
I think if you watch the Saturday Night Live movie, you have to watch the one called what is it? A heartfelt, meaningless gesture.
Hmm.
There was a writer who did like Animal House and a whole bunch of other movies, and it's about his life.
Oh,
Um, and a lot of the actors who are in it are representative of like the SNL actors.
interesting.
Like there's a Bill Murray. Chevy Chase is played by that guy from Community, which is ironic,
That is ironic. That's
right?
bizarre.
Yeah, but that movie I watched, it was Will Arnett, and it was actually really, really well done.
I'll have to check it out. I don't know if
Yeah.
I've seen anything from it. I can't remember. But I'll
I'll send
check
you the
it
link.
out.
Yeah, I'll send you the name of it later once I Google it and find out what it was.
There's
But
so many things I need to watch. Okay, so to tie all this up together,
finally,
in conclusion for Ghostbusters 2,
yeah.
what would you say is the most satisfying thing that you leave that movie feeling? Like, do you think that what they were trying to do in that movie they pulled off at the end? And do you think that it did justice to fit with the first one? Like, what's your overall like whenever you
You-
finish watching the movie every time, like how are you feeling? Like I know obviously you
Well,
like it, but
yeah, obviously, I really enjoyed the movie. Did they do what they accomplished to do? I think to do that, we need to go back in time and ask my mother at Christmas of '89 how much crap I got from Ghostbusters 2.
mhm, that's
Um,
fair.
right? Because, like we said, that's pretty much that was probably the goal at the time. But I find it's a really good movie. Like I said, it was my first outing to go to the theaters at all. I really enjoy it. Even the mistakes that are in it are just perfect. The plot holes don't need to be filled. Like,
Mhm.
where did Winston go? Like,
He's just hanging out. I love he's in the
like
courtroom and then he's gone.
yeah, like no explanation. There's a comic that shows him like fighting their mother in the next room,
Oh, that's
but
cool.
yeah, but like no explanation needed. Everything just works out. So
Yeah, I agree. I think that it is what it is. And to try to find plot holes in a Ghostbusters sequel, I mean, sure, you can find them, but like it's kind of weird to look for them. Like I don't think if it's that kind of movie where you like if you're looking, I think you've missed the point. So when
yeah,
people are like, "Oh, I don't like Ghostbusters 2." I just think back to when I was a kid, same deal, in the summer of '89 after seeing that, just being absolutely stoked at night, wearing my proton pack around the house, pretending to catch ghosts. Like it
yeah,
worked. I was
yeah,
completely on board and my suspension of disbelief was at like an all-time high
yeah,
after that movie. And if I could just tell myself you won't see another one for another 30 years, I
yeah.
probably would break my kid heart at that point, to be honest.
I think it was like 35 years actually.
Oh my god, that's ridiculous. That's
Right? Like
ridiculous.
we're 40, we're 41 now.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
that's
it's been a
crazy.
while. It's you know,
That's crazy. That is
yeah,
insane.
yeah.
I actually can't believe that.
We're actually we're actually too old to be in the original Ghostbusters movie.
I know, isn't that
We're
weird to think about?
we're we're even too old to be in the second one.
I know, I think that we're, like, older than, like, a bunch of the casts in Ghostbusters
Like
2.
I think we could be the parents in Afterlife,
Oh, shit.
right?
Oh,
Like
no.
that's where we sit in the hierarchy that the fans who were fans of the Ghostbusters could be parents in the third one.
I'm just excited for Bennett to come on here eventually, and he'll be, like, reviewing Ghostbusters 6 or 7 with us. It's gonna be so funny because
From
'cause he'll
a
go,
retirement home.
"Yeah, yeah, yeah." He'll be like, "Yeah, I watched your episodes and like there is plot holes at Ghostbusters too." And I'll be like, "Shush. Don't do this to me.
Just,
Not on my deathbed."
just tell him, I brought you into this world. I will take you out if you keep doing this.
Dude, maybe they will make another one for another 30 years and they'll have like Lucky's grandkids in it or something ridiculous.
Maybe her and Trevor will finally get together.
I don't know. They kind of I don't know. They kind of like strayed away from that, it felt like a little bit in the sequel, didn't they?
Well, I think because the Ghostbusters moved away from where they were and or Oklahoma and moved to
Distant
New York. So
relationship. Yeah, that's
on,
true. Yeah, you're not wrong.
yeah, the only thing she has to worry about in Oklahoma now is tornadoes.
Oh, yes, that's true.
Yeah,
The ghosts have been taken care of. Um,
exactly.
well, all right. I guess that's any is that it? I guess this is Ghostbusters
I
2.
I guess we're gonna have to figure out what to do next on Ghostbusters or
We're gonna
Clerks
have to
or
do the
all.
reboot eventually. It's gonna happen.
Look, you don't want to do it. I'll do it with Cora. It's fine.
Oh my god, that could be a very explosive episode.
Why?
I don't know, she hates it.
Oh, Oh, I thought she liked it.
No, she like absolutely hates it, which
Oh,
could be really funny.
I should have listened to her when she was talking.
You guys should do it together. I think that would be really funny.
I always tell people don't judge it against the others because it's always gonna lose.
I mean, it's a
Just
reboot, you know?
yeah, just grab a thing of popcorn, sit down, watch the movie. It's called Ghostbusters.
It's called Ghostbusters. They have the symbol.
Yeah,
Chris Hemsworth is hilarious. That's all I got, you know?
yeah.
Dan Aykroyd's a
Did you
taxi cab driver.
did you know that he ad-libbed some of the stuff in that movie?
No, but I'm glad he did because honestly, he was my favorite part of that. I laughed so hard at him. Fuck.
Yeah.
When he's designing the logos. Anyways, we'll save that for that episode.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
well, this is Matt and John signing off. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe if you want. Maybe don't. Maybe just keep
Please
coming back here as a random.
please do.
Yeah,
Please
please do.
do.
Please do. We don't
Please
make any
do.
money. It's just for
It,
fun.
no. No, exactly. And we're not judging anyone, you know. If you're American, we still like you.
Yeah.
Still watch.
I'm sorry, my American
Yeah.
friends. So
Yeah.
sorry. You keep that statue.